can't have nice things. Angel, you want to tell him or should I?
Did you? Once again, you never cease to amaze me.
I muted my mic the moment we started, so any noise I didn't make, that wasn't me. My was muted since I went off air.
We watched you cough.
Dude, I was muted.
We'll play it back at the end. But anyway, guys, Piers, you want to let everybody know why we're here?
What's up, everybody? It is me, Piers Austin, the smooth talking, sexy walking Australian bearded man himself. Shut the fuck up, Angel, Kingpin Angel. He's pretty fucking old, but he's quick on his feet. He's the king of the street. He's Angel motherfucking Medina. And we're joined also, once again, by Kevin, a.k.a. Juan Stroman Rodriguez. Get these motherfucking tacos. What's up, fellas? And we're back for another episode of Wrestling with Tragedy. Guys, I can't wait to get into this episode tonight. It's going to be great. We've got a lot of stuff to cover. But guys, before we get into it, how's everyone been going, man? Like it's been a busy week.
You know, everybody. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what we're going to cover. With the opening that we had, we felt, guys. I understand we're pretty far removed from the passing of Road Warrior Animal. Definitely very far removed from the passing of Road Warrior Hawk, but it is respectful that we do that. We will be talking about the Road Warriors today, and what an amazing topic to cover. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really excited about it. When you think of the greatest tag team of all time, very, very few come to mind, and the Road Warriors are always in that conversation. So I'm doing great, man. It's a little early, but hey, I'm kind of getting used to running on Aussie time because of somebody who can't shut the fuck up during an intro. But I digress. Angel, what's going on, man?
Man, I agree with you. I'm pretty excited to talk about the Road Warriors on our latest episode. But the first thing I want to talk about is what the fuck are you doing with a baldy gimmick haircut? That's gimmick infringement.
At least I had a good reason.
He had a good reason.
I always shave my head zero all over. So
I want to be like Kevin and Angel.
Get the fuck out, bro.
Baldy.
I'm going bald. Seriously, dude. So like,
Angel, are you revamping the baldies?
I know it's the Aussie DeVito right there. You know, but like I said, again, I am pretty excited. You know, again, we took a little hiatus. You know, and now our batteries are recharged. So I'm just stoked for these episodes coming up.
Angel, you know what I'm excited about?
Numbers, really.
You know what I'm excited about, and I don't mean to take anything away from the amazing content of this show and what we're going to be doing. But what I'm really excited about, Angel, is we got merch. Piers, you want to tell them about it?
We do have merch.
Yes, sir. Over at Store Frontier, Wrestling with Tragedy now has some beautiful, beautiful merchandise. Let's check out a couple of these shirts that we've got available now to all of our amazing fans, supporters, listeners, watchers. Wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching, you're in the right place. But let's show these people what we have available, Kev.
So here at Wrestling with Tragedy, we have a lot more coming, but we knew for a fact we had to start out with these ones just because of the premise of the show and the overall popularity of the sayings that we've created that you guys really seem to like. So the first one we have is the Allegedly t-shirt from Wrestling with Tragedy. Also available in long sleeve, short sleeve hoodies, baby onesies, and face masks. Also, guys, and I think this is going to be Angel's favorite so far, the Hard Times shirt from Wrestling with Tragedy. Also available in everything that I previously listed. So if you guys want to get your hands on any merch from Store Frontier to help support the show, go to storefrontier.com/wrestling or Wrestling with Tragedy, and you'll be able to get your hands on both of those. And these are the hoodies that they come in. This is from my other store I have, but this is probably the softest hoodie I have ever owned in my life, guys.
Also, you got to tell them it comes in variety of colors.
Oh yeah,
not varieties colors, but the tiers.
You get to choose. You are given, as opposed to our Pro Wrestling Tee store where you get just what's loaded up there. You can actually choose your color this time, so it's pretty cool, guys.
I'm getting tie-dye.
But also, let's not forget our other sponsors, guys. Let's give a quick shout out to A-Rock Designs on Facebook. A-Rock Designs is that company that you're seeing all over all the wrestling Facebook groups, pages, everything like that. They make custom hoodies, cups, t-shirts, tumblers, you name it, they make it. They made me this custom CM Punk tumbler. They made Kevin's Bullet Club tumbler there. They do amazing stuff. Head over there, speak to Ashley Rodriguez.
They did not make Angel's bullshit orange tumbler.
No, they did not make that shit. But head over to and speak to Ashley Rodriguez. She does amazing prices and an amazing quality of product, guys. You will not be disappointed. Next up on the sponsorship is Championship Belts, baby. That's right. Every wrestling fan in the world, boys, in the world, either owns a replica or a custom championship belt, or they want one. You know what I mean? We know a lot of wrestling fans, guys, and everyone talks about championship belts, where they can get them. Wasif Championship Belts is the place to go. If you want a custom championship belt or a replica of your favorite championship belt, guys, head over to Wasif Championship Belts. Check out the work. They have amazing deals, amazing payment plans, which we can pay off as little as $30 to $40 per paycheck until that belt is paid off and in your hot little hands. And believe me, the quality of these belts are phenomenal, guys.
They're good enough to make Stevie Richards his belts, that's
what I was going to say.
We're doing right now. So
absolutely. And the last but not least is also
wait, he's not done.
I just got to say one thing before we move on. Like I said, we're currently making a belt for Stevie Richards, and I got to say, Stevie Richards and Ben Hameen, thank you so much for the kind words you guys have been giving us on your show. We truly appreciate it, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Absolutely, 100%. But also one other thank you I just want to throw out there is the Cicadas Band for providing that awesome song that you hear at the beginning of our intro video. Those guys are amazing. Go head over there and support them. They support this show. Please head out and support them. They do great music, guys. But
awesome. Let's
get on with the fucking show, boys. Let's talk about it.
If you guys have been if you've been a fan of pro wrestling at any point in time in the last 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years, I know I'm exaggerating there a little bit, but you've heard the name, the Road Warriors. You've heard of Road Warrior Animal, Road Warrior Hawk, the Legion of Doom, whatever they happen to go by at the time. And like I said in the beginning, whenever you think of the greatest tag team to ever lace up a pair of boots, the Road Warriors are always going to be in that conversation. They absolutely dominated the territory scene in the late 1980s to the 1990s before they ultimately found a home in WWE. And the thing that was cool about them was, well, one of the things that made them so cool was, the reason they got the name the Road Warriors is because they never stayed in one specific territory. That allowed them to do a lot of things. It allowed them to stay fresh. It allowed the gimmick to stay fresh. You didn't get bored of tiring them. It made you want to see them. And you knew when the Road Warriors came to town, it was going to pick up. And to this day, guys, you get what's called the Road Warrior pop. When a crowd absolutely loses their minds and are just as loud as they can be, it is called the Road Warrior pop. And that is a title that I know through interviews. I never got to speak to him personally. I would have loved to, but through interviews, Road Warrior Animal said on numerous occasions, having that called the Road Warrior pop was more important than any title he ever won, because the titles came from the brass, but that Road Warrior pop, that title came from the fans, and it let them know that they loved what he was doing, what they were doing, that they were over, and that, all their hard work was paying off. And man, did it ever. They had such high peaks in their career. They had a lot of lows, but they had some very good highs that no other team had accomplished. And I'm really excited to get into some of that with you guys.
What was exciting for me when I was a kid? I mean, NWA was the foundation of my wrestling career, watching the Road Warriors. And when I heard that song Iron Man coming through that, and they came through with the face makeup and the leather, and at the time they had the leather vest and stuff. I mean, these guys were just intimidating and just an awe factor. Just watching them walk to the ring and just like, oh my God, these guys are going to get killed. The opponents. I mean, like I said, that music even
you knew business was about to pick up.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous, man. Was the best tag team at the time. The Nikita Koloff wrestling them, and Dusty Rhodes, and the 3-man tag team championships when they won the tag championship.
The NWA 6-man tag with Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, it was just, God, it was just some great memories.
So while we're sitting here talking about it, I would be remiss if I didn't run down the list of some of their accomplishments, and then I'll let Pierce talk. But when you talk about the most dominant tag team to ever grace a squared circle, you kind of have to run down their accomplishments. So just really quick, NWA or All Japan Pro Wrestling one-time tag team champions. You had for Jim Crockett Promotions and World Championship Wrestling, NWA six-man tag team champions 3 times with Dusty Rhodes. multiple time WWE Tag Team Champions, Wrestling Observer Letter Hall of Fame, WWE Hall of Fame, PWI Hall of Fame. I mean, these guys are in 7 different Hall of Fames.
That's the thing, man. They really put tag team wrestling on the map. You look at the Road Warriors and where they, tag teams weren't in the main event, and very rarely have they been in the main event since. And that was all because of the Road Warriors. And you look at, what they have been able to accomplish over those years. It's hard to not look at the tragedies and the downfalls that team had as well. I mean, Mike Hegstrom, who was Road Warrior Hawk, he loved to party. He loved the nightlife. He loved the drugs, and he loved the booze. If he'd been able to keep himself clean, he loved the gimmicks. And if he was able to keep himself clean, how much better could that team have been? And I know that question's probably going to get me a little bit of heat, but let's look at it like at a common sense, guys. Like, if he was straight in the gym training, and look, he was in phenomenal shape. He looked great a majority of his career. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that he didn't, but if he wasn't on the gimmicks, wasn't on the booze every single night, how much more greater could they have been?
But you got to remember, man, back in those days, I mean, that was part of the lifestyle of a professional wrestler, getting on the gas, the gimmicks that were given out. I mean, I'm not saying it was a must, but it was just part of the locker room. I mean, everybody was juiced up at the time. I mean, they were taking some ridiculous amounts of gas to get to the size that they were. I mean, Hawk was just a beast, And again, I'm not condoning what he did. It's just, maybe if he didn't do it, it would have probably helped him. But it was just part of that time frame that it was just the norm.
Well, hearing Pierce talk about how much greater they could have been, and it is a very debatable, statement, because, like I said, you're not going to get far down the list without mentioning the Road Warriors. But I do have to come to my partner's aid. I do have to bring up one thing. When you talk about how much greater they could have been, let's talk about Wembley Stadium. Okay. Coming down on the motorcycles. They're supposed to be in the main event for the tag championships, correct?
Yeah. Correct.
And it's been very well documented that at that show, that Road Warrior Hawk was just out of it. He was on whatever he was on, a mixture of drugs and alcohol. And while going over their match with Vince McMahon, not just some locker room agent, not just some secondhand, talking to the guy, Vince. And every time Vince tries to say something, you're cutting him off, you're slurring your words, you can't stand up straight, whatever the case may be, knowing you've got to go down this ramp on a motorcycle. But anyway, the match was changed right there on the spot, going from the tag team championships in the main event to facing
Nasty Boys, I think, wasn't it?
No, Money Inc.
Yeah, it was Money Inc.
Was it Money Inc? Okay, yeah, you're right, Money Inc.
They faced Money Inc. in what was it, the second match, which a lot of wrestlers have agreed that the second match is not a good spot to be, because at least if you're in the first match, the crowd is hype and ready for the show to start. But you were automatically changed from the main event to damn near the opener of the show. You were taken out of the title picture, and that ultimately led to Hawk disappearing.
Now, like where you fall on the card determines your pay. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, I'd heard that.
Yeah,
well, I've heard it, but I've never heard it from somebody who's actually been in the business. So if you can get a hold of Stevie and have him let me know, that'd be great.
That's awesome. I'll get him. I've never been in WrestleMania. No, but it's true. If wherever you start on the card determines the factor of how much you're going to get paid. If you're main event, it's just a higher dollar. You're still going to get higher dollar if you start in the first match, but it ain't going to be the same amount when you get to the main event aspect. And if you do a dark match, like on the pay-per-views, I mean, it's still a good paycheck, but you get more if you were on the live pay-per-view instead of the showdown. You know what I mean? The opening.
So essentially, Hawk fucked him an animal that he fucked themselves out of the biggest paycheck of their career at the time.
Correct.
Well, something like that, I believe that only mattered to Animal. And the reason I say that is because if anybody's seen the Road Warriors episode of Dark Side of the Ring, Road Warrior Hawk's family openly said that when Hawk came back from Japan, he was coming back with stacks and stacks and stacks of money. So, yeah, he might have lost the payday for wrestling, but I'm sure he made that money up somewhere else because, like I said, it led to his disappearing. That was at Wembley Stadium, and they were due to tape TV. So they left Wembley Stadium, and Paul Ellering and Animal were at the next venue here back in the States. And they're starting to look around, and they're looking for Hawk, and they can't find him. Asking, hey, where's Hawk at? Where's Hawk at? Anybody seen Hawk? Nobody can find him. Next thing you know, they get a phone call, and Hawk literally says, I quit. He's all the way in Japan. And, Road Warrior Animal really wanted to keep the gimmick going, let the situation die down, let everybody take a breather, and then come back with the Road Warriors. And after some time had passed. So that's what he's doing. He's kind of doing his own singles career at the moment. And the next thing you know, you got the Power Warrior over in Japan, which led to a very heated conversation between Road Warrior Animal and Road Warrior Hawk, where Animal's just like, look, I'm not doing that here in the States. That's our gimmick. That's what we built. And you're just going to plug somebody else into it. I don't know if you guys know this, but there are actually 9 people credited with being in the Road Warrior faction at one point in time.
Yeah, no, I knew there was a few because they've had like Droz was there, Heidenreich, Sonny. But one of the things, and I do want to get to the Power Warrior because that colossal fuck up, I definitely want to touch on, Kev. But one of the things I want to go back and you mentioned as well was their entrance into Wembley on the motorbikes. We have to touch on that. And you know me, I'm a big person and supporter of, Judy.
Here's your 5'8". How big are you? You're 5'8".
I'm big where it counts. But
you greasy little fuck.
But that's the thing. Vince McMahon let him go out on a fucking motorcycle down to the ring in Wembley Stadium off his tits. And everyone thought that was okay. We could have seen the end of the Road Warriors. We could have seen the end of Road Warrior Hawk right then and there. If you guys have ever ridden a motorbike before, like if you're not 100% on them, and even if you are 100% on them, but if you're impaired on a motorbike, dude, you could easily friggin' tip that thing. You can over accelerate. You're going to like go ass over tit. He could have killed himself just coming to the ring. You see him get in the ring and he did not look right.
Well, I heard
sorry, Kev.
I heard a story not too long ago. It may have been from Angel or somebody on this show. It may have been from a TV show or an interview somewhere. I can't really remember where I seen it, but there was a conversation between Vince McMahon and a medical doctor, and they were talking about how somebody could not go through the curtain and perform. And Vince McMahon literally grabs the medical doctor by the collar, and he goes, you mean to tell me you're going to fuck all these guys out of the main event? Are you serious? You get him through that fucking curtain. Yeah. I forget where I heard that from. Do you guys remember?
Stevie mentioned it on the previous episode when we had him on.
Okay. That's where I heard it from.
It was about Shane Douglas. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all.
Well, you know, it's funny. Good.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's the thing. No one, like, Vince McMahon doesn't give a fuck about the performer. If he did, he wouldn't have even sent him out there. He would have sent him straight to rehab. He would have pulled the tag team match altogether, not put a guy that's fucking off his tits on drugs, alcohol, God knows what he's fucking taken, put him on a motorbike, push him out the fucking curtain, go for it. That shows like zero fucking care from a company about their performer, their employee, their contracted talent, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, and but man, I went back and watched that match as an adult when it happened. I wasn't really that old, but going back and watching that match as an adult, you can clearly tell he was off his rock. He was off his rocker so bad that they had to change the finish on the spot because they could not do the Doomsday device. They could not do it.
He wouldn't have been able to get up on the rope.
He was clearly off his rocker.
But you know, the thing is, why are you so surprised that, you know, Vince pushed him out through the curtain, especially after the CM Punk incident and also what he was talking about?
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, but I'm just saying, like, that's what we've come to expect from WWE, WWF.
But I see what Piers is getting at. It's not that we're surprised. It's the fact that, you know, you want to talk about how bad, you know, he fucked up the main event, how bad he fucked up by getting the matches switched. Let's just say he comes through that curtain on the motorcycle and immediately eats shit.
That's exactly what I said.
What if he and I don't know if you guys have ever ridden a motorcycle. Them bitches get hot, really fast. So it's not unreasonable to think that he comes through the curtain, lays that bitch down on his leg, and just gets burned all over his legs. I mean, it's not that. And before I get eaten alive in the comments, I know the bikes weren't on that long, but I'm flirting with possibilities here.
And they were Harleys as well, weren't they? They were.
I think so.
Harleys are heavy.
The brand.
Harleys are fucking heavy bikes, dude. And please wait, both the Road Warriors were strong as fuck. So I'm not going to say that they couldn't.
But when you're inebriated, nobody's that strong.
Well, if you fall off a Harley and your knee's trapped under it in front of like how many thousands of people were at that show, you know, but that just goes to show, man. And that's what I was saying. I wasn't surprised by the idea of Vince pushing him out the curtain. I'm just saying, is it any surprise to the fucking what? Like how does a company put their performers and put their talent that are under the influence or not able to go to the ring and perform, whether it be injury or intoxication, and allow that shit to fucking happen? Like, what the fuck? Any other profession in the world, bro? You take football, for example. You either take American football or you can take rugby league, rugby union, as we have over here in Australia and the rest of the world. Oh, well, more people in the world play that than they do, you know, that padded shit that you guys play.
And the padded shit still makes more money, so eat a dick.
I digress. But the thing is, you know, if another athlete from another sport turned up off their fucking face, would they push him out to the ring?
No. But Kevin, I just sent you a video of Bash at the Beach '98 when Hawk was on gimmicks behind in the locker room, so you can maybe put it up and show the fans. Absolutely. You know what we're talking about. So that's why I was looking at. I'm not being, you know, not being engaged. It's just I wanted to find that video so we can definitely show that.
Let's touch on as you said before, the Power Warrior, the Japanese gimmick, and then
it was Kensu Sasaki.
Yeah, man.
No,
had the same face paint, fucking everything, dude. Was the exact same. It was the same shit as the fucking Road Warriors. And to be honest, Animal had a right to be fucking pissed.
Yeah, and the thing is, Hawk didn't. And I'm not saying it's hard to say he didn't give a fuck, but since he was so on the gimmicks and stuff like that, he just said, fuck it, I'm just going to do it, and didn't really ask his partner, hey, is it okay? Even though I'm not coming back, is it okay? And I know Animal wanted to, had some deals in the works to try to resolve the issues that happened so they can get back together. But then when he did that thing in Japan, he's like, what the, he just came out of nowhere. So it was like a kind of a slap in the face. Like, man, dude, you could have talked to me, before you did that. And I mean, that's crazy.
But what would that mean in the business, Angel? Let me ask you this, right? Say, for example, this is the end of ECW. everything's closing up. The Baldies have just come off. Probably the biggest run of the Baldies was with the New Jack deal. How would you feel if you take Vic Grimes and he turns around and Vic Grimes, or even DeVito, who DeVito is like a brother to you. Let's be real. If DeVito, for example, went over to Japan or went over to the UK and got some other bald Puerto Rican and called it something similar, you know what I mean?
He already did that, being part of one of the hottest tag teams in ECW, as the Baldies. He was tired of being the Marty Jannetty of the tag team. And then he went to ROH and hooked up with HC Loc, called the Carnage Crew, because Loc was bald. So Loc became the Marty Jannetty of that tag team. So yeah, absolutely. It was done, but I didn't take offense, but I would be hot.
But they weren't stealing the complete gimmick
no.
Baldies, though. I'm saying, like, if he went to ROH, perfect example, and started calling HC Loc Baldy Loc or Baldy Medina, you know what I mean? Or Kingpin Loc.
Well, first of all, knowing DeVito, he would talk to me first, and I wouldn't give a fuck. But if I was a different person and he did that without talking to me, yeah, I'd be hot, because we're known for that tag team. I mean, it was just us. Sorry, Vito. Just
brother.
What the fuck? No.
So, guys,
he'll call Pierce. You little shit.
Let's go ahead and let's go and take a look at the clip that Angel sent me. I'm going to go ahead and use screen share. I do want to take this chance to say that we will be using uncopyrighted footage. It is from the YouTube channel named The Referee. So,
and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, make sure you guys check out that YouTube channel and show them some support as well. But we are going to go and show a little bit of uncopyrighted footage of Road Warrior Hawk in the backstage area. Be the judge. You be the judge.
The Beach 98.
So let's go here. Let's go there. And all right, gentlemen, let's take a look.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Can you mute it, though? Because we might get kicked off.
Everybody's on gimmicks in there.
Oh, look at Dr. Death. Oh, look at that. Oh. When the molly kicks in.
Yeah.
Oh, gurning.
I mean, you can tell. I mean, I know it's dark, but it's just, when I watched the video, you could just tell by his mannerisms and the way he's moving around, and then, there's some. Like,
you just see how his head was moving. It was just like,
breaking the kayfabe. I mean, look how swole they are, man. Rugged Ronnie Garvin.
I don't know, man. It kind of looks like Dr. Death. Yeah, look at him there. He looks like he looks like he's definitely impaired there. But
I mean, yeah,
him and Dr. Death look like they're feeling no pain right there.
Oh yeah, I mean, it gets a little bit worse. I mean, not worse, but you could just see his mannerisms. It's just, you could just tell he was on something.
Oh yeah.
Look at Lex Luger, brother.
Oh.
I mean, he's just,
Was that an accident, or was he just fucking around, you think?
I mean, there's a certain point.
Yeah, he's fucking around.
But I mean, I don't know the person, but I mean, when you get drunk and you get silly and you get to a point where, I mean, there's some, he was just getting elusive. He was getting, feeling good and just getting fun, just acting silly. In the video, I mean, it was just like he was doing like, making funny faces, and you could just see in his eyes, he was just, I mean, he was on the gimmicks, man. And they say they were doing a lot of blow back then in the locker room at the time, in that segment or video, whatever. But
so, guys, that's a clip from that's a clip from YouTube. Go to the Referee channel on YouTube, and you can see the full 22-minute clip if you would like. But Angel, let's talk about it, because I remember hearing a story about that exact incident. When you're on the road, that much. And when you are when you're at the level of what the Road Warriors were, you're not just facing everyday jobbers. You're facing, the top talent. You're having these long 10, 15, sometimes 20-minute matches. At that point, Angel, and I know you never really partake in this part of pro wrestling, but one of the things that makes our show so successful and allows us to have so many things to talk about is that drug usage and alcohol usage go hand in hand with pro wrestling, especially during this time frame. How many guys are doing like the self-medicating and trying to in they do it for numerous reasons. One, you don't want to go to the doctor, find out you're injured, be off TV and lose your push, not justifying anything, but I mean, these are stories that I've heard from you and from guys who've been there, but how common is it to see this kind of self-medication, and how common is it to see a locker room acting in the way they just were?
Oh man, it's very common. I mean, like I said, when I was in the locker room, I see some stuff. I mean, guys taking OxyContin, breaking the time release, crushing it on the table and sniffing it. I mean,
that's right.
I mean, cocaine, just pills, tons of pills. I mean, I could tell you a story one time with myself. We were in Ohio wrestling. I hurt my back, and we're in a bar. And I was just not feeling right. Just my back was killing me, and Hack was there, Sandman. And he goes, "Hey kid, what's wrong?" And I said, "Man, dude, my back hurts. I'm just not feeling good." And he goes, "Hold on, kid, I got something for you." Goes in his jacket, pulls out, I'm talking a pill bottle that's like this. And he goes, and he shakes it, and it's just all these multicolored pills. And he goes inside and he goes, "Here, take this. Here, have this beer." Man, I took that shit. Felt like $1 million. Ooh, I feel great. And so they said, me, Raven, and him. He goes, "Angel, can you do me a favor? Take the car. We're gonna go to Denny's. We were with some rats." I get in the car. All of a sudden, I remember I grabbed the steering wheel, and then in my left hand, it was like I started shaking, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And not feeling good. And I'm, cutting it short. Anyway, after I was throwing up, puking, I couldn't eat, just shaking. So I said, "Hack, what the fuck did you give me?" "I gave you an OxyContin, kid. And since I don't do pills, I don't do anything." That's just like a bam to my system. And it was a shock to my system. So I kept throwing up for 2 days. And I mean, like I said, I was just taking it because I'm like, okay, the boys aren't going to harm me. The boys are just going to take care of me. I felt like $1 million, but then it hit me the wrong way. And then I'm just puking. So see, things like that, I just didn't want to say no. I said, okay, I mean, I trust them. Which I shouldn't have because I was green and I'm stupid. But again, that's something that, again, it is in the locker room, and when the boys give it to you, you think, oh, well, if he's doing it, oh, okay, I'll take it, and fuck me up. And I will never take OxyContin again,
No,
how would you feel?
Go
ahead, Pierce.
How would you feel though? Like, we've seen how inebriated that Dr. Death was in that clip, and also how off chops that Hawk was as well. And we talked about the incident at Wembley. If you're going to be going up against someone like that, and they're sitting down there, and you're going to go talk your match through, and they're sitting there going, we got this. Are you going to be sitting there and go, "I ain't going to fucking wrestle that motherfucker. I'm not going to go out there and get in the ring with that prick"?
Well, if we were that's hard because when it's at the time, I don't think we could have went. I don't know, man. It's just at the time we said, "Well, oh, shit, he's fucking gimmicked up. We can't." I don't know if we'd be afraid to be pulled off the card and to have everything changed. So what we would have done is say, "Hey, let's say Chris Chetty and let's use Chris Chetty and Danny Doring, and let's say somebody was gimmicked up, and I'm not saying they are. I'm just using them as an example. If one of was impaired or injured, we're like, hey, you'll take the whole match. You'll take all the heat. He'll come in a couple of times and then tag out. So he'll be in, but not really in, if that makes sense. We'll be pissed, but we usually would have took care of him just to make sure that we did the match. We would change things up, but he would have been in there, whoever it was, to be in the match. I mean, that's just how it was back then. If you were injured, we just work around it. If you were gimmicked,
would you stiff the shit out of him though?
Nah,
you motherfucker.
Nah, I had too much love for the boys. It just depends if it was just somebody we didn't know. Let's say if it was, like somebody from the outside that came in. Let's say I'm just saying like Brian Pillman. Let's just use Brian Pillman. I didn't know him and he fucked the shit up. Yeah, I probably potato him because we're not close, but it just depends.
So there's one thing that I think is very important that we talk about, because we spent the last 36 minutes talking about.
Wait, Kevin. One thing I want to know. I want to know what Hawk was talking about. Animal was talking about when Hawk took that black stuff that he mixed up and just drank it and just like made him. It was in the episode of Dark Side of the Ring. I said, what concoction did he take on top of the gimmicks that he said you're supposed to take a little bit, and he took like this massive amount that just like shot him through the ceiling. I mean, did you remember that in that episode?
I remember it, but I don't know what he took.
Yeah, that's why I want to know what the hell was in that cup. But anyway, go ahead. I just wanted to bring it up before I forget.
No, I really wish I knew what it was because we'd probably be able to talk about it a little more. But one thing that I do want to talk about, and I want to talk about this because addiction has really played its effect on my family. I've seen it firsthand. I'm sure, Angel, you being in the business, you've seen it with a lot of your friends, if not your own family, peers, yours as well. I mean, everybody at some point, whether it be through your family or through yourself or whatever the case may be, you've struggled with the effects of addiction, whether it be in your personal life or through friend or family, whatever the case may be. So it's a very touchy subject for all of us, but I do want to go ahead and say that, Road Warrior Hawk did get clean at one point. He noticed he was making a mistake. He got sober and made his return to WWE. So I don't want to spend this entire show talking about his drug problem, although it did play a factor in a lot of what happened to the Road Warriors and the time they took off. But it's still very commendable and very much worth talking about that he noticed his life was going one way. He wanted it to go another way. And he made the changes and the self-corrections that he needed to make to get himself clean and sober. So if we only say it one time in this episode, good for him for going through the tough stages of recovery.
But you know what gets me hot about it? And we already talked about it before because it kind of relates to the Jeff Hardy situation where they use everything in the angle. That time when
that's exactly why I wanted to talk about this.
And that's what gets me hot. WWE says they care, but when they take your darkest, the darkness that you have in your life and use it as your gimmick, how much do you really care? How much sensitivity do you have?
Here's the thing, Angel. Even though you can sit here and argue the fact that it's just storyline, that it's for TV, but let's just play this out, okay? Let's say, Angel, okay, the story you just told, Sandman gave you the Oxycontin. Let's say right then and there you got hooked. Let's say right then and there for the rest of your life, every day, you were throwing them bitches back.
Yeah.
And then you meet your wife, significant other, girlfriend, whatever, and you decide you want to change your life. Now, let's just say you were popping those pills for years. You did everything you had to do to get rid of it. You did everything you had to do to get yourself clean and sober. Great moment. Congratulations. Fan-fucking-tastic. And then you go to work and they're like, hey, we're going to have you
work an angle where you're going to be addicted to Oxycontin, aka that hillbilly heroin.
and they say that, you're going to walk out to the ring every night with this bottle of pills, with these drugs. We're going to put you around it. You're going to have to be around it, and you're going to have to carry these drugs with you everywhere you go. You've essentially just put a loaded gun in your hand.
Yeah.
And now you're staring at this thing, this thing that had so much power over you at one point that you worked your ass off to kick that habit and to get clean and get sober. And I'm like, here, now you have to carry this. You want to be as far away from that shit as possible.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's just a slap in the face, especially when you just got yourself clean. And then, like you said, they say, we're going to use it as an angle. We're going to, we want you to carry these fake, even if it's fake drugs, you're just looking at these blue pills and it's just enticing you and stuff like that. I mean, you do have a weakness for them, but you just want to stay away from them. But they're making that, they're setting up this fake surroundings that's just kind of like sparking interest again. Like, those pills were good, and I really liked them. It's a mental trigger.
You have a rough match. Your body's feeling sore, and instead of going to jump in the ice bath or hot shower or whatever else you found to work, you're like, man, they gave me this bottle of pills, and I know this is gonna work in like 5 seconds. Just let me, you know what? I could just take one. I'll just take one, and then you're right back in the mix again.
I don't remember him actually coming to the like.
I'm using his using as an example.
A metaphor, yeah. He's just.
I used it because Angel told a story about pills, so I was using pills as the metaphor.
Sorry, my bad. I misunderstood there. But do you think that angle and that storyline was a way to bury him? Like, is almost like, hey man, you fucked us years ago, buddy. So now we're gonna fuck you.
I think you could have. I think if that was the intention, they could have came up with a better way to do it. I mean, look at most recently Jon Moxley when he was on his way out of WWE. They had him jobbing out, or they had him getting attacked and beaten up by Nia Jax. They had him jobbing out to EC3 in less than 3 minutes. Not to say EC3 is not world class talent, because he is, but the way WWE used him, the way their characters were at the time. Dean Ambrose, aka Jon Moxley, should not be jobbing out to EC3 in 3 minutes on live television. And they were trying to bury him on the way out to diminish any stock that he had to make him less appealing to any company. So there's other ways to do that. You don't have to focus on someone's drug problem. Angel, I apologize. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. And that's what I'm saying. Kevin's right on the point. The stock and the Road Warriors are a good stock. And they, regardless of what's going on, it's still the Road Warriors. So they were like, hey, since he's already, we're going to use this, no matter what, they still wanted to use the Road Warriors. So they figured out a way to like use his addiction as an angle. I mean, look at Jeff Hardy, hell of a talent, same thing. I mean, that's a different story, but again, it kind of meshes together.
That's like 5 shows in itself.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the saying. I mean, a great talent, awesome, but they keep all these companies keep using his addiction as an angle. And that's what they did with Royal Warrior Hawk. They just said, hey, since she's not, I mean, you could tell his body was not the Hawk body, and he was still Hawk, I don't want to say he looked like shit. He was just not the same as he was in the 80s, but it still had the name value. So they just still wanted just to ride that horse until it died, basically. That's just the way I see it from my point of view, from this side of the fence. Vince or anybody could say, no, it's just that we wanted to do it this way, and we think it was a great idea. We didn't think it was going to hurt anybody. I mean, regardless, I just see that it affected him, and they just didn't give a fuck about him. But they used them just to promote the show.
What WWE does, man. Bleeds these fuckers.
How many times, I know how people are sensitive, I mean, do you see me and Kevin making fun of Pierce's height and stuff on the show? The guy would jump off his chair and kill himself.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. Listen here, funky old Medina. Settle the fuck down. Fucking jabroni.
Don't get him riled up, Angel.
Fucking asshole.
I mean, the glare
Kevin,
off that
Kevin, I knew we should have got Vic Grimes for this show. We got the wrong fucking baldy.
The wrong fucking baldy is you right now.
Anyway.
Both you pricks can eat a dick.
But
my mates.
We are, but the thing is that like I said, man, it's just so hard. In WWE is not also the one, like the only one that does this. TNA did it. It's I just don't. I mean, the business doesn't care about you. I don't give a rat's ass if they say they do. But they'll use you until and run you to the ground. And no matter if they put you in, their special program for drugs and rehab and stuff like that, they still don't give a fuck. They're just covering their ass.
So let me ask you this question. After the passing of Road Warrior Hawk, as we all know, Road Warrior Animal still very much alive at the time, still wrestling, still with WWE. We talk about the Power Warrior. And we talk about him somewhat stepping into the shoes of Animal, or attempting to. Do we need to talk about Heidenreich?
But before that, what about Droz? They almost did the same shit with him.
But which one was put on the team to carry Hawk? I mean, because it was all three.
Droz.
It was Droz. That's what it was. I mean, that's what it all started. I mean, basically, like, they added that third member so he could balance out Hawk. So, that's the way they did it. you know. So I don't think, and then they just took Hydrant, whatever he pronounces his name, later on, but because they wanted to cash in on the Road Warrior name without Hawk, you know. And I think
here's the problem. Well, let me rephrase that. Here's one of the problems. When you have so when I think of the greatest tag team of all time, it narrows down to 4. And I could never pick between the 4. You have Demolition, you have Legion of Doom, you have the Rock and Roll Express, and you have the Midnight Express. It's always going to come down to those 4 for me, and I don't know where I land on who's the best. But for the sake of the argument, let's just say one of the best, if not the best, tag team of all time. Somebody who've built up such a fan base. To this day, they're still known to have the Road Warrior pop. When you interchange any member of that, you can add to it, but don't you dare take away and don't you dare try to replace. When you try to replace someone, first off, you have the hardcore fans who think, you know, Hawk has passed away. How dare you spit on this name, spit on this legacy, and try to, you know, rewrite history like he was never even in it. And then you also have those hardcore fans that are just like, you're not the Road Warriors. You're Road Warrior Animal, and you're Heidenreich. You know, Heidenreich, you're good. I never thought he was that great.
Yeah, I thought he was a shits.
Yeah, but drizzling shit, bro.
Heidenreich, you're big, you're scary, you're this, you're that, but you ain't no Hawk. Even on the gas, even on the gimmicks, even stumbling out to Wembley Stadium, you still ain't Hawk. So I think it was in poor taste. I think it was and it never really got off the ground, did it?
No, I mean, I think they put the tag straps on them for a short time.
Yeah, I mean, but there's certain tag teams you can't replace them. You know, the British Bulldogs. I mean, and that's why, you know, he just became, you know, Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. I mean, you don't replace one of the Dudleys. You don't replace one of the Rock and Roll Express. That's just guaranteed. That's it. Once one dies, you can't replace the other. You just take the name Rock and Roll Express, you know, Ricky Morton, you know, and that's it, and push forward.
Can you imagine the Rock and Roll Express losing Ricky Morton and adding Ricky Flair?
But let me
as great as Ric Flair is, it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah. No, it wouldn't have been ridiculous. But, you know, even Animal, like, and I don't want to talk bad about someone who's recently passed away, but you look at Animal, he had a run in WCW, I think it was 2000, 2001. He had the run with Heidenreich, and man, it just seeing him without Hawk, it just didn't feel right.
One without the other just fell off.
Yeah, like to me, it was just like, all right, like WCW. I think they had him as like an enforcer to a stable, but I don't even think it was anything like.
Well, I think one of the things we have to look at is, you know, let's take 2 very different teams. Let's take the Road Warriors and let's take the Hardy Boys. Okay. Excuse me. When you have a team like the Road Warriors who came in together, who rode the roads together, who went from territory to territory together, who no matter where you were at, they were together. And when they worked in the ring, one never outshined the other. They complemented each other every step of the way. So it's merged in your mind that these two need each other. Then you have a team like the Hardy Boys. You kind of pick your favorite. Like, hey, you know, Matt's better at this technical wrestling style, and then you got Jeff, who's this crazy spot monkey who will do just about anything. So they complement each other, but they don't need each other, if that makes any sense. But toward the Road Warriors, they needed each other because you couldn't pick a favorite between the two. They were interchangeable. If you seen one, you were seeing the other. If you closed your eyes, you didn't know which one was in the ring. You didn't really have that with many teams. So when you have a team that where both members complement each other that much, and they're that close together and that interchangeable, and you've never seen one without the other. They debuted together. Everywhere they went, they were together up until the events after Wembley Stadium, but you get what I'm saying. So whenever you have somebody who complements Animal that much, it's hard to put anybody else in there. And when you have somebody who complements Hawk that much, it's hard to replace him with the fucking Power Warrior.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of hard. I mean, even though Kensuke Sasaki is a hell of a wrestler. It's just you can't replace.
Absolutely.
You can't replace. It was a train wreck. I mean, watching that. I mean, again, you cannot replace once you have a dominant tag team like that. That's etched in history. You can't replace that tag team. You can't replace that individual, regardless who it is.
I just wish.
I mean, there's teams that you don't give a fuck about, like the New Rockers and the New Howard Foundation. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to them, but people was like, but there's a tag team. There's always that one, a few tag teams that you can't replace them, and that's the Road Warriors.
I just wish, as a wrestling fan, I wish we would have got sober Hawk for the entirety of his career, because the things they accomplished pale in compare, and I think we all can agree on this. The things that they were able to accomplish pale in comparison to the things they could have accomplished.
Yeah.
If they would have been on the same page and stayed clean, and they didn't have, the locker room heat that they had, the backstage heat that they had, whether it be Vince, whether it be another worker, whatever. If they just, I mean, we say the sky's the limit, but those guys had no limit.
Dude, what about we have to touch on this. Vince taking the fucking Doomsday in a fucking strip club.
Oh, in the bar, yeah.
We're like 52 minutes in, and I can't believe we have not brought this up yet. And well,
it's hard to hear you way down there.
Way down on the. Well, I mean, I want to know how the hell he took it, especially in the bar on hardwood floor. I mean, how did he take it? Was he really up on this guy's shoulder and he jumped on
Hillbilly Heroin?
Yeah, I mean,
Hillbilly Heroin. He was on the gimmicks, brother.
I don't know. That's just kind of, I wouldn't take it, regardless how much liquor I had. Like, oh yeah, put me on your shoulders and clothesline me off the stripper stage.
One thing that they never really talked about was, did they rent out the strip club, or were there like everyday customers in there watching this shit go down? Because if I'm in a titty bar and I'm seeing this old man, or well, at the time he wasn't really that old. Yeah,
no, he wasn't old.
If I'm looking over and I'm seeing, these larger than life, just jacked up men, and I see Vince McMahon on their shoulders getting taken out. They said he took everybody's finish that night. Which one are you watching? Are you watching the dancers, or are you watching Vince be stupid? Because I'm kind of torn between the two.
And I wonder what the bouncers were thinking about. Like, oh man, should we intervene? I mean,
you took one look at the Road Warriors and said, "I'm keeping my ass right here, and I'm not going over there."
Yeah,
that's
but
what you said as the bouncer.
Yeah, but you remember he said he's taking everybody's finisher. So every big motherfucker that's in the business is in that fucking, that bar would have been torn up if it would have like, hey guys, you need to stop.
I believe the Godfather was there, and he wasn't exactly small either.
Yeah, they were beasts there. So I'm just saying, like, I'm only getting paid $100 a night. This ain't worth to getting my ass kicked by the Road Warriors.
I can just imagine some like random punter that's sitting there like this with his $1 bills, just going, "Dance, Whitney, holy fuck! What was that?" You know what I mean? Like that, dude. I don't know. Sorry for yelling, but I just had to put that in.
I'm not the one sleeping at your house.
It's all right.
Yeah.
This room is soundproof, Connor.
There you go.
But we spent majority of this time talking about Hawk and his addictions and them trying to interchange the Road Warriors, trying to recapture lightning in a bottle. Recently, we did have the passing of Road Warrior Animal. The cause of death is natural causes.
Yeah.
He died at the age of 60. And, if the family of Road Warrior Animal ever sees this episode, if by some random act of God that it happens, I just want to say that we are truly sorry for your loss and the contributions that your family member had made, your friend had made, your loved one had made to the world of professional wrestling. On behalf of myself and every other wrestling fan out there, I truly say thank you, and we are truly sorry for your loss. This is not only a loss to his family, this is a loss to the wrestling community as a whole.
Oh yeah. So much knowledge that he had.
Think of the learning tree that's no longer with the world of pro wrestling, whether it be WWE, AEW, New Japan. It doesn't matter where he went. The vast amount of knowledge that he had to share with the younger generation is something you're not going to. You can't buy that in a store. You can't read a book and figure out the things that he could have told you. So the world of pro wrestling definitely lost a gold mine with Road Warrior Animal. And once again, just truly to the family, you have our condolences and thank you. Thank you for everything that contributed to the man that Road Warrior Animal was.
And absolutely. I mean, he was a plethora of knowledge. I mean, I wish he was in WWE as a coach to teach these individuals in regards to how to sell and so. I mean, he just had knowledge, and we lost a great athlete, and people are not going to benefit from his years of experience. So I mean, it was a shock to me when I heard he died. I mean, because he looked great. I know he had some health issues. Talking to the boys. But I didn't know. He looked great to me. He looked fine. But little did we know that he had some ailments, or he was ill.
For his age, he looked great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But hey, you know what's awesome though? We're talking about gimmicks. This picture right here of Kevin. Look at his eyes. I love it. It pierces
on
like
that hillbilly heroin.
It pierces like really.
I was outside and the sun was in my face. Hush.
This got to be on one of our Wrestling with Tragedy hillbilly heroin.
Nope. You will never see my face on a t-shirt. Piers, you know more than anybody how I feel about faces on t-shirts.
Hillbilly heroin.
Hillbilly heroin.
But yeah, man. I mean, it's like I said, I'm still shocked, even though it's still like how long ago? 2 weeks, maybe? A week? I don't know.
Roughly.
It's just roughly. It's just I'm still kind of trying to drink it in, and I'm still shocked.
Well, not even 2 weeks before he passed, some good friends of ours were at an independent wrestling show, and he was there. They took pictures with him. They had conversations with him, just full of life, still making the rounds, still going to these autograph signings, still getting out there and meeting the fans, still giving back to the world of pro wrestling, even if it's just, an autograph signing and not a wrestling match, but still showing up for the fans, signing the autographs, taking the pictures, telling the stories. The man was still giving back to pro wrestling at 60 years old. So it's not like he had been long forgotten. He was still showing up at these events and really just giving back to that era that loved him so much. And just as much as we loved him, he loved us. He was one. I've met him once at a WrestleCade event in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I can't really remember the year it was, but I put the pads on. I took a picture with him, and just one of the nicest guys that I had the chance to talk to at that event. So
same here. I met him one time. I mean, he was nice as can be. I mean, I never knew him personally, but he was.
The new generation could have learned a lot from him, both inside and outside the ring.
Yeah, 100%. And
was he ever in Australia, Pierce? Has he ever come down when you were?
He has come to a couple things. I haven't had the chance to meet him. But just going off everything, I was a huge Road Warriors fan. I was a huge Legion of Doom fan. In Australia, like wrestling in the 90s and 80s,
who didn't want the shoulder pads with the spikes on it? Who
no
didn't
one
want
ever, bro, fuck, like
it was the coolest thing ever.
Oh yeah,
dude. Let me tell you this. Like, I know we're just about to hit that 1 hour mark, but do you remember when the New Age Outlaws came down and they fucking chloroformed them and shaved the fucking mohawks off?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it was around 98, 97. And dude, I was like 16, 17. Dude, I was sitting there like I had, trying to be a tough teenager. I was fighting back tears. I'm like, not the fucking Legion. It's like, dude,
in 98, I was 7 years old.
There you go, bro. There you go. But final thoughts, man. One of the greatest tag teams, definitely will go down in history. And I would say as the greatest tag team of all time. I'll say it right now. Yeah. But
I can't disagree with you. I can't.
But if Hawk was able to keep his nose clean, how great could they have really been? How much more greater could they have really, really been?
It would definitely cement their legacy as, are they the greatest tag team of all time? To, you're damn right, they're the greatest of all time. And they're still in the conversation. Like I said, it comes down to 4 for me, and I can't pick between the 4. I really can't. If you say either one of those are the greatest tag team, I'd have to agree with you. But like I said, this recent passing of Road Warrior Animal is what really moved us to do this episode, and paying our respects to both Animal and Hawk, and the world of pro wrestling is going to feel this one. And they feel every loss. We mourn every loss. We are sorry for every loss, but this one hurts just a little bit more. It's almost as if a piece of our childhood died with it. And like we said, the learning tree that is no longer available to this newer generation is the biggest loss of all. Aside from obviously him losing his life, second to that, their learning tree that's no longer available is the second biggest loss that we're going to feel from this. And like I said, condolences to the family. We're sorry for your loss, but thank you for contributing to the man that he became.
And also, just like we always say at the end of the show when we talk about drugs and gimmicks and all that stuff, even though Animal died of natural causes, if you know anybody out there that's struggling with addiction, please find them some help. In the hotlines they have out there, just find them some help, man, because when you lose a loved one, you can't get them back. And you could have, should have, would have. Try to make that effort to try to get them some help. Because here in Wrestling with Tragedy, even though we talk about tragedy, we do care. It's just, this is our show. This is what we talk about, but we're not insensitive to people's addictions.
Absolutely.
So.
Well said. Well said.
With that being said, there's no other way that we can end this show more respectfully than Angel just did. So I just want to remind you guys, go back to the beginning of the video, check out our amazing sponsors, check out our merchandise. But I don't want to add anything because, like I said, we're not going to be able to end the show any better or more respectfully than Angel just did. So that being said, guys, we'll see you next week with another episode of Wrestling with Tragedy. Thank you guys for watching. And, we'll see you guys next time.